So I always try and find songs to get me in the mood for whatever video I'm filming. Today's song is Die For You by The Weeknd, because today we are going to talk about some of my favorite possessive and alpha heroes. Hi everyone, I'm Frylise and welcome back to another video. So you saw the title, you know what we're going to talk about today. I'm making an effort to try and do more recommendation videos because I'm like on my 9th or 10th one now, and only one of them has been a recommendation video. So that's what we're gonna get started with today. I was looking through the books that I had read recently and what they had in common, and they all had alpha and possessive heroes, because apparently I like them. It's the month of love, it's Valentine's Day coming up, and I don't actually like those little cutesy Valentine's romances that a lot of people would like, but to me, these kind of recs are what I would read for Valentine's Day when I'm in the mood for something lovey. What more says love than this? I know everybody doesn't read dark romance. It's kind of a shock to me. Yeah, Fred, because not everybody is you. Forever and always, in my opinion, dark romance is the best, but I know it's not for everybody. Just before we get into these, I know the you touch her and I kill you trope is something everybody loves, and there's so many different opinions on what classifies as a you touch her and I kill you kind of romance. So I'm just going with what I think, okay? So most of the books I read have that kind of vibe. Some of them a little more intense than others, so I'm going to be including a little bit of both today. Just remember, this is my opinion, obviously. In no way am I saying like these are the only ones, these are the only right ones, because everyone has a different kind, okay? And while I have not changed my shirt from our last video, really it's cozy, I'm wearing it. I did change my hair. So my friend gave me braids last night, and they've given me this really frizzy, really pretty hairdo. So without further ado, let's get into this video now that the sun has finally moved. I have 7 recommendations for you guys today that I think fit this brief perfectly. These are 7 of my all-time favorites, really. Let's start with The Finisher by Runyx. So I read this when it came out just about a week ago. I included it in my wrap-up video. I cannot wait to recommend you guys this because wow. So our hero, his name is Alpha. If that isn't alpha enough to you, I don't know what is. He's definitely one of the most alpha heroes I've ever met. Literally only one of his men can ride in the same car with her because he doesn't want them to look at her. So this is in the Darkverse series by Runyx, and you do have to read the first 3, which actually I was almost going to include Tristan, hero, in the first 2 books in this list, but Alpha is just more alpha, but Tristan literally fits this too. I highly recommend them both. So this is a Grumpy Sunshine and arranged romance rec. Alpha and our female main character, Zephyr, actually met when they were much younger, but he had a traumatic event happen which left him devoid of a lot of memories. So when they meet again after many years apart, Zephyr proposes to Alpha, and I can't actually remember exactly why she does propose. The marriage benefits them both, and it's really cool to see their dynamic of when she moves into his house, which is awesome, by the way. I love the setting. And they have to be in close quarters and forced proximity, and they have that tension, I swear. This is perfect for a forced proximity rec too, because like I was sitting there and I was like, are y'all gonna do it? Are y'all gonna do it? What? Alpha is just so alpha. There's literally no other way to describe him, and Zephyr is an awesome heroine. You honestly can't say too much about this book because, like I said, it's not a standalone. The Darkverse series is pretty complicated, so you have to go through the first 3 to fully understand Zephyr and Alpha's story. But literally the whole series is phenomenal. Just go read it. My next rec is Swan Song by Lymari, and I also read this one in January. I've thought about it every day since. Literally, I reread certain parts of it as well, just because I can't get this book off my mind. This is definitely a dark romance. It has a lot of triggers, so be sure of those. So Ophelia is involved in a human trafficking ring, basically, and Nico saves her when she's about 10, I think? She's younger. And so he takes her, his daughter basically, and he takes her as part of his traveling dance circus, basically. I don't know what really to call that, but he's very powerful, he's very influential, and he has a traveling dance troupe, I guess. I don't really know how to describe it. So she becomes a ballerina, they attend all of the public events together, and the world sees her as his daughter, but her feelings are not like a daughter. So once she gets older, she starts to realize that her feelings toward him are not very fatherly, and she makes a move on that, but he's totally not okay with it. He's like, no, you're my daughter, you're so young, like you've been through so much, and she is completely intent them being together. And so obviously it does go somewhere, the tension again. He actually has a kind of secret plot going on that we don't figure out until much later into the story, and then there's a huge plot twist at the very end. I love both of them. I threw my Kindle across the room at that last plot twist. I was shock his possessiveness and protectiveness, really, because she was involved in some deep shit when she was younger, right? So he's very protective of her. He's like, you are never going back. I highly recommend this one. I will recommend this one always. 5 out of 5 stars. And then we have another January read. This is Debt by Nina G. Jones. So Tax is our alpha hero. You heard me right. His name is Tax. I just imagined it as Dax the entire time, so you could do that too. So we learn pretty quickly that Tax has a revenge plan against our heroine. He stalks her, he tracks her down, and there's a little bit of something at the beginning. I don't really want to spoil it because it's awesome and it's like boom, right off. But yeah, that happens, and then he starts to control her life. He buys the business she works at, becomes her boss, literally is stalking her all the time and just controlling every single move she makes, which makes tons of sense when you get further in on the plot and you realize something happened between them, and he is pissed about it. She is the reason why his life didn't go how he wanted. It's fuck her this way and that way. This is pretty dark once again. This was so good, and if you need more convincing about the alpha possessiveness part, she tries to go dancing just to like let loose, you know? He stalks her. He breaks someone's hand for trying to dance with her. Okay, and this next one, I really need you guys to check your triggers before you go into this. Even I was triggered, and I read a lot of dark stuff. This one stayed with me for a very long time. So this is Torment by Dylan Page, and this is a stepbrother MC romance. So our heroine, her and her mother's life is not very great. Her father left, and they're just overall struggling. And her mother starts dating this guy, and they end up moving in with him. And little do they know, he might be the VP, actually, of a motorcycle club. And then she meets Shay, who is her extremely broody, very tortured stepbrother, and they meet when they're very young. I believe she's 5 when they meet and he's 8. They see each other as siblings first, and then it's just not at all. This does start pretty young. I believe she's underage. Even if she wasn't, some could agree this is manipulation. I would agree with you, but this really moved me. There's nothing else to say. Shay is the ultimate possessive alpha hero, but it goes a little beyond my line personally. But just so you know, if you're team Shay, and I am arguably team Shay, this does not end in a happy ending. Nothing about this book screams happy. I found it a very good ending. It is a bit of a love triangle too. I always recommend this book because it is so moving. He's literally the ultimate alpha possessive hero. Like, none of these can top Shay. A lot of these are a bit more sane than him. And then we have Hunting Adaline by H.D. Carlton, and the second one in this duet did come out in January, but you do need to read this one first. This is another stalker romance with the ultimate possessive, and our heroine Adaline moves into her grandma's or her family's old house and starts to spruce it up a little, renovating it, etc. But she's experiencing some creepy things. First up, she finds her grandma's journal, stories of how her grandma fell in love with her stalker, and then she keeps seeing these little notes left everywhere, and she hears things at night. So I read this for Halloween. It was the perfect spooky season romance, but I would recommend it all year long, really. Oh, her stalker, Zane, is who the love interest is here. Their romance at the beginning is pretty dubious, but in the second book, I really saw the redemption, and while Zane is extremely possessive in the first one, in their interactions together, Adaline suffers from a lot of trauma in the second one, so he kind of reels it back in and just gives her space to be her and come to him on her own. But yeah, there's scenes in here, like... Next up, we have one of my favorite standalones from 2021. This is The Ritual by Shantel Tessier. I think I said that right. It might be Tessier. I'm sorry. I know I've said all of these are possessive, are controlling, our alpha, but this one takes the fucking worm. This is an incredibly steamy, dark college secret society romance. So Blakely is our typical college girl. She is kind of the mean girl, actually. Wyatt is involved in their college's secret society kind of vibes. I would classify it as secret society, and he has to choose a partner for this ritual that goes on. And yes, it is what you're thinking, but it's also not what you're thinking. So they end up choosing Blakely for Riot. He has to keep her as his for a certain period of time. They have to go to certain things together. and by the end of it, they do fall in love. In the beginning, you might be really weirded out. You might be like, slow the fuck down. But if you stick with it, the end is really rewarding. To me, Riot wasn't too much of an asshole. He is an asshole, but not too much, you know? But at the end, he really does redeem himself. So if you are needing some kind of redemption from him in the beginning, definitely read to the end because it's like a picture perfect ending. Riot is beyond the amount of possessiveness and controllingness that I normally read about. Y'all might get triggered by his controllingness. Honestly, to me, it was fiction. It was fine. If this happened in real life, I would smack the fuck out of him. Also, this is the most sex I've ever read in a book. So if that doesn't convince you to read it. So my last recommendation of the day is Killswitch by Penelope Douglas, and this is just a classic. You can't not include this book for this trope. This is also part of a series. You do really need to read the first two, I think, before this. It's phenomenal. It's a romantic classic, honestly. PD does it every time. This follows Damon and Winter, who have had a kind of relationship in the past, and multiple years later, he comes back for a devil's night. Oh, this is dual timeline. I know a lot of people don't like full flashbacks to the past. I love it. And in this book, I loved it even more. I really loved how we got to see a bit of the first bit and then a bit of them later on. Really, this is the perfect plot to me. Like, I don't remember anything that jumps out at me right now. To be fair, I read it a few months ago, that I had an issue with in this book. Damon is very protective of Winter because she does not have her full eyesight. I'm not too sure if she's fully blind or if she's visually impaired. But yeah, he's her protector, literally. He's very alpha. I wouldn't quite say he's too controlling. He has a lot of trauma, so the controlling aspect would make a lot of sense. But yeah, that is Killswitch by Penelope Douglas, a must read. So everyone, that is the list for today. I really hope you guys enjoy these recs as much as me. Every single one of these recommendations was either a 4.5 or a 5-star read for me, and to me, 4.5 star is the god tier trope. It has flaws, but it's literally fucking perfect, so I really hope you guys enjoy this list. Let me know if you're going to read any of these down in the comments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe because it's really appreciated. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!